Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jester. My name is Junior. So this is the second box that I ordered from eBay. Also came from Japan. Also got it for a good price. I believe this was around $80 to $90 compared to what Superboy is going on right now. Yes, Superboy. I mentioned that. This is another Mafex. This will complete the set for me. But here's the thing, though. Right? Look at that. So same country of origin. Different seller and everything, but unfortunately the results are not as desirable as the last one. That one, the packing on that one was quite good. This one I can kind of like they only did paper and all that stuff, and here's the box itself. So it did get smashed, but luckily for the seller, oh, he had some Japanese newspapers in there, so that's kind of interesting. That's actually a pretty cool thing for me, because I used to study Japanese, and I guess that's kind of cool. It's a local Japanese newspaper, so I'll keep that aside for now. So luckily for the seller, I am not a box collector, and I don't really mind. Look at that. Mafex number 32 Superboy, Return of Superman. Let me go ahead and open it up really quick. So here's the box. It did get kind of squashed. Technically it's still not bad. All that matters to me is the inside. This is where I guess somebody got curious about it and opened it up. But there's the back. Here's the figure itself and everything. And let me take it out of the box so we can take a better look. Of course, it comes with the regular stand that Mafex comes, which I don't really like that much, but you know, at least it comes with it, I guess. Gen 1 product certification. Comes with 3 heads, as we can see. Comes with a jacket, which I think it's pleather. So eventually it will degrade in time. I'm not entirely sure if I will display it with pleather with the jacket. Well, let me just take it out first. All right, so let's take a look at the figure now and what it comes with. So it comes with 4 pairs of hands. I have this here. This is the Aaargh sets of hands. As you can see, the Aaargh actually comes with, I'm just going to switch that out for now, 5 pairs of hands. And we do have these blasters, the 2 blasters that he comes with. However, with Superboy, he does come with 2 additional extra heads, while the Aaargh only came with a 2nd head. So I guess it balances out, but I actually prefer more heads rather than more hands. All right, so let's take a look at the hands and compare them from the Aaargh to Superboy. So these 2 hands, they're kind of grabbing forward. That's kind of similar. These 2 hands are kind of like a relaxed 2 hands, the flying pose hands, and then I suppose the translucent flying hands would be equal to this AOK hands, thumbs up hands, and then this one will be the one that's not accounted for. But I suppose this one unaccounted for pair of hand would be equal to the sunglasses. And then of course you have the angry head, and then the angry expression, and then the neutral expression for Superboy. And of course, don't forget that Superboy does come with a jacket. Now, even though the Aaargh and the rest of the Supermen have these long flowing capes, I feel like tailoring a jacket is much more complicated than having the cape. Of course, the cape is has more volume than the jacket, but still I think like this is much more complicated than that. So I feel like you definitely are getting more value for Superboy than the rest of the figures. Take a look at, so let's take a look at this head first. So this is the one with the glasses, the dark sunglasses and everything. It is attached. I actually kind of prefer that. At least it's not gonna move around or anything. You can see blue highlights into the hair. He has a little bit of a smile, smirky smile. So that's good. The only thing I could have wished for was this should have been maybe more of an opaque dark glasses, so we can see his eyes behind it. The other thing too that could have been a plus, if this had been removable, you could have adjusted it so it's slightly just above his nose, so he can like be looking on top of the sunglasses, I guess. But I think I prefer it more that it's fixed, because I would have lost this. So here's the other head, which is more of an angry look. Now we can see more. It is well painted, but basically painted. There's no shadows or anything like that. It's well done the way they painted it. There's no bleeds or anything. But again, it's a very simplistic design paint that does the job. It basically shows it as a comic book character, and that's fine with me. As you can see, as I turn it around with the shadows and everything, you can see that, that there is detail in the sculpt over there. Look at that upturned nose. There is detail in the sculpt. You can even see it in the furrow of his eyebrows. But a lot more subtle, which is fine, because at this scale, you don't want to over amplify all these details. And there's the head that's actually on the body, that came with the body. Now, the difference between this one and the sunglasses is the position of the mouth. The mouth here is very neutral. It's not a smirk or anything like that. But again, the detail, the paint job is there. Not too much more to talk about. It basically has the same it basically has the same characteristics as the other one, the angry one, in terms of paint detail and everything. Let's do a complete. So we'll look at the body close up. Very nice, crisp painting. As you can see, there's no bleed. The lines are solid between the blue and the red, and it is just painted. It's not raised or anything. So well done on that one. The yellow is also painted. That's not a separate piece, so you don't have to deal with having it too thick. But as you can see, it's a very solid yellow color, and yellow is very, very hard to do, especially here against black. Look at that. They did a really, really good job on this one. However, there is a slight difference in tone of the yellow from the red background to the black. It's the one in the black seems slightly darker. Here's the back. The belt, these two belts are separate pieces, as you can see as it's moving around, but glued with each other from this point. But that's fine, because I don't want them to be too separate from each other, because yeah, it'll be too much of a hassle. The glove is free floating over here, or the cuff of the glove and everything. This one is also painted. It's not like raised or anything, not that I can feel. All right, so let's look at the figure. Oh, and here's the leather. Funny enough, this is an actual zipper, and I kind of wish they should have just like maybe sculpted that on, because the teeth are too big. It doesn't really have the thing that zips it up, so it's more for show. So I don't know why they had to do it like that, but it's kind of impressive, but at the same time not necessary. And I'm sure this is pleather. There's no way they would actually have done leather in this one, but I do wish they would have. Yeah, the way it stretches, it's pleather for sure. And then it seems to have an actual wire here at the belt. Interesting. As for articulation, it's basically the same compared to the other Mafex figures. You really can't fault them for anything. You have a whole lot of movement. Biceps cut completely around. It does give you that much of a cross section for the hands. Double jointed on the elbows, and we have to forgive the fact that it does break the sculpt, but you have a lot of range for the elbows. The wrist does have a twist, and it's a ball joint where you can change it up from either sideways or by making sure that you're keeping the wrist in a different position. You can actually have it go up and down. Having the glove cuff separate from the actual glove, it's a good move. This, you know it's broken, or it's a separate piece, but it's well done enough. Okay, and we've already talked about the paint application here in the gloves. I'm kind of curious. Let's take it out really quickly. As you can see, the ball joint for the hands is actually red, so at least you won't see an ugly joint in between the two. But really well done. You can still see some sort of I guess clasp going on this glove design. Is kind of weird. How about let's check out and see how easy it is to replace a hand. There's really no resistance whatsoever with replacing hands on a Mafex. It's not too stiff, it's not too loose, it's perfectly balanced the way they have the whole thing come out. So for the ab crunch, you have a little bit on the top, and then you have an added movement at the waist to further increase your ab crunch, and I think that does a good enough range for the two. Going backwards, again a slight going backwards, but then with the addition of the waist cut, you have a whole lot more than you would ever need. You do see gaps going on here, but luckily the way these belts are designed, it really hides them well. Side to side, as you can see, well done again, well done. And then of course, kick is very well done. Again, I'm noticing that the diaper or the crotch region or the pelvic region is made out of a softer rubber, which is allowing for that excellent range of movement, that it also does not hamper any movement of the articulation at all. It does have a drop down joint, so it even amplifies that range of movement if you really want to, as you can see. But honestly, with that rubber pelvic region, as you can see, if I'm resisting it from dropping down the joint, it still does a pretty good job. And with the additional movement of the ab crunch, you can really do very well on that. Look at that, amazing. Yeah, honestly, I have no plans on collecting any more Mafex figures. But I tell you, having this in hand is very, very tempting to get more of DC figures. But honestly, I have to stop myself at this point. Each of these figures are over $100, and I can't imagine myself buying a lot of DC figures for this one. However, they're mostly concentrating on Batman and Superman, so maybe that's the only reason why I'm able to stop myself from buying any more Mafex figures, because I don't need multiple versions of Superman and multiple versions of Batman for something so expensive. I did notice that this part of the joint is black, so slightly unsightly if you're doing a pose like this. You can kind of see it over there. And of course the knee joint, there's really no question that it can do double bends over here. The movement of the ankles goes up and down well, with a rocker as well and a toe pivot. How easy is it to replace the head? Pops off well and easily. And let's see what's going on with the head. That's kind of weird. Nope, it's the same one. There. Interesting design. Really interesting. You know what though? I kind of wish the smirk on this face was a little bit more pronounced. Because I really think I'm going to be displaying him with this. I want to display him with the glasses, sunglasses, and the smile. Because that's how I remember. I'm Superman. Don't call me Superboy. That's how I remember the character. Very cocky, very self-assured, very self-confident. And remember this pose over here? Oh yeah, oh my god, remember that pose? Oh, we gotta do that pose. Make sure we don't mess up. So we're putting the jacket on. I don't know. I really don't want to put the jacket on this figure. I know for a fact this is gonna corrode and flake off. It's so small. Bending this would be stressing this material so well. Maybe if it had been nylon or something, a different material other than pleather, because this is gonna crack. It just is. Oh, okay. So the reason why I didn't want to do the jacket is, to be honest, it makes the figure just look way too bulky for me. So because of, I mean, the only good thing is that it does tighten up this glove cuff, and the good thing too is that the fabric, which is a lot of strength resisting all these movement, is not so strong that it's pushing out the cuff out. Now I can understand why this is slightly more bigger than I expected. And I completely forgot if that's the right way to do it. I don't know if the direction of the cuff is interchangeable, whether you can do it this way or that. I believe mine came in like that. So putting on the cuff, I'm just pushing it down as I put on the gloved hands, and basically emulating that iconic cover where he's just looking back, showing off his S shield. Okay, so what does this figure look like with the jacket on, honestly? I mean, it's not too... You know what? It's not too repulsive looking, to be honest. And what's a Superboy without the jacket? Because that's how I remember him too. What's the name of that girl reporter? Lana something, but it's not Lana Lang. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they added a wire on this belt, though. Yeah, this is... Yeah, I think I'm going to display him with a jacket on. Screw it. I do want it where this part of the jacket is slightly higher. That way, yeah, it lessens the bulkiness of it. And once I'm putting on this jacket, now I'm being extra careful moving the joints and everything, making sure I'm keeping certain parts steady as I'm moving joints and all that stuff. All right, I think that's all we need to talk about with Superboy, right? So now we're going into value. All right, so I did get this for $90, and I just checked eBay listings right now, and the seller is now selling it for $110. So I really did get a good price on it. But I mean, honestly, and it was, because right now you can see that Superboy is going upwards of 100. So 90 was a really good deal. But at the same time, I think during the listing on this one, and this was a buy it now, there was actually a secondary listing for Superboy for bidding, and I forgot to bid on that. But I just decided not to mess around with it. But that one actually sold for $60, with $36 the actual bid, with an additional $30 for shipping. Yeah, crazy. But still, $66 for Superboy. That's a good deal. Whoever got it, congratulations. Okay, so base price 10 equaling to $90 value. Very surprised. Very surprised at how much I like the figure. Considering the fact that I had canceled this for pre-order, considering the fact that I no longer want to collect Mafex, um, I'm very happy with what I'm getting. The two additional heads, the fact that I didn't want to put the jacket on, but I'm very surprised at how much I liked it. I'm gonna say I should put in 12. I really should. But I love Superman. I love Superboy. This captured it perfectly. I got a good price for it. I'm gonna give it between 13 and 14, and I can't decide which one it is. I feel like 14 is too high, 12 is too low. I'm gonna say 13. Value 13. So before I do switch out to this one, I do want to show off this whole collection of Superman that we've received, or that I have in my collection. And this is the main reason why I ended up getting them, is to have this lineup. Now, I don't have the black suit Superman from Mafex. I only have the black suit Superman from Mezco. And as you can see, Mezco has its own style. It's slightly taller, slightly bigger in proportions. So even though I know some of you guys are saying out there, well, it's good enough, I think you can put it there and put it in the background. I love Superman enough to consider getting a Mafex black suit Superman. I love Superman enough to getting two lines from these two that are quite expensive, $100 and everything, but they do fulfill certain parts. So if Mezco were to come out with these same characters, I would probably get them as well. So I'm now in the hunt for a black suit Superman, but I'm not willing to pay for a lot of price for it, because I know it's not a good character. It's not a character that's well in demand. So I'm thinking maybe 60 to 70 for the black suit Superman. The problem is the Superman Mafex, because the only one that's closest to this design is the Superman Hush. They've never really done a Superman from this storyline, and I don't know if the Superman Hush is a good enough stand-in. I'll have to check on the reviews and see what's going on with that, because that's going for an upward of 150, 160 right now. So I don't know. Here's the other Superman that I want with this. This is the Gong Studio Kingdom Come Superman. As you can see, it is slightly higher than that, and I know I'm messing around, but I'm just like I like playing with these toys, man. So he's slightly higher than Mezco as well too. But so finally, just having these four, the reign of the Superman. That's beautiful. And again, I was like, I don't know if I need the black suit Superman, because this is what I wanted. I'm looking at this design. It's like, do I really want to pay top dollar for this kind of design? I'm not really a big fan of this design. I was never a big fan of the black suit Superman, because it also comes with a mullet, and I was never a big fan of the mullet design Superman. But anyway, that's it for my review of Mafex's 1/12 scale Superboy. Oh, before I do get off, I did forget to say that the regular Superman, the Cyborg Superman, is standing at around 6.5 inches, while Superboy is standing at slightly above 6 inches. Just to let you guys know, in the height difference between the two, it's an excellent height difference. So that's it for my review of the Mafex 1/12 scale Superman. What an excellent buy. I'm glad that I changed my mind and bought it. I'm sure that if I had not bought it, it would have been out of my mind and maybe would not have regretted it. But having it in hand now, I'm just really glad that I did change my mind, and I was able to get it for a good price. So that's it for my review. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys found it informative and enjoyable. I will see you guys next on my next review. Bye.